Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. March is National Nutrition Month, an educational campaign that focuses on the significance of physical fitness as well as eating nourishing meals. It began in March 1973 and was immediately embraced as a way to promote messages about overall well-being and taking charge of your health. That's what we plan to do today. My first guest is wildly passionate about the power of food and its connection to our health. Amberlea is the founder of Plant Joy. Hi, Amberlea.
Hi, Andrea.
Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It is always a pleasure, and we've had you here on other occasions talking about different things.
Yes.
This is something that you're doing full-time now. Tell us more about Plant Joy.
So Plant Joy evolved, unfortunately, out of me being sick, having breast cancer, and really using food as medicine through my treatment. And then along that journey, not finding out enough medical resources and help for that. And so after that, did a little homework, started getting more certifications and trainings. And so now I'm a plant-based food educator. I'm a plant-based chef. And so I train people on the power of food, and then not only what we should be eating, but how to cook those foods, what to do with these ingredients, how to make awesome food that's not going to kill us, hopefully, that's still going to taste really good, and that our family's not going to reject when we put on the table.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, it's been almost, what, a decade or so since you were diagnosed.
8.5 years.
Okay, and so you were actually diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer. So was it at that given moment that you decided to change the way you eat in order to kind of combat it from making its way back into your life?
Exactly. Yeah. I had already been studying about nutrition. I was really interested in the idea of food as medicine and how we could be eating more fibrous foods, some of the nutritional issues that we have as a community, society, because of the way we eat. And so that kind of urged me into doing a lot more reading. And then when I was diagnosed, it was like, whoa, hold on, I have to put the brakes on here. I know enough, or I know some, but I need to learn a little bit more. Yeah. And so when I just said, hey, I'm gonna stop, and the advice I was given was to remove all animal product from my diet and to really up that fiber intake. And the way to do that is to eat more plant foods. But most people are like, well, what's a plant food? And so I think it's really a basic, simple way of talking about what we're eating, and plant foods really can reduce our cholesterol, they can reduce our risk of cancer, prevent and reverse heart disease, type 2 diabetes. So they're really powerful, and I thought, why isn't anyone talking about this? So I want to share that information that I've learned and spent the last decade studying about, but the diagnosis for me was that moment to stop, reflect, and think, how do I re-navigate and point this ship in a different direction and hopefully get different results?
Yeah, and you just mentioned there are a lot of people when they're diagnosed with some type of illness or disease, such as diabetes. I would even throw high blood pressure in there because, food with high sodium can affect blood pressure in many ways. And so you have those individuals like yourself who are trying to eat to remain healthy because you know what it's like to, be diagnosed with something that really can be life-altering. But there are also people who are at the beginning of every year, they say, I am going to lose this many pounds. I'm going to wear this dress that I wore back in 1997. That's me. And and really, they just want to kind of feel better and look better. So we're talking to all of those people today. And I think it's safe to say it's not that easy to change the way you eat, because it really is not a diet, it's not temporary, it's a lifestyle change. And so if you would share with us what kind of helped you get started on your journey of becoming a plant-based eater. And then also there's a new book that has just come out that you wanted to share with the viewers to help them out as well.
Yeah, so some resources that helped me. One, I'm a nerd. I love to read, I love research. So the more data I found really kind of made me feel more secure and confident about my choices. Because when you do something different, especially with your diet, people are like, whoa, what are you doing? And so then there's a lot of resistance. But I like to say to people, look, when I was smoking cigarettes and driving through to McDonald's to go to the gym, nobody was like, Amberlea, what are you doing? But then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I'm going to eat plants now.
It was like so oxymoron.
And everybody freaks out. But I was in college once too. I was responsible for myself without knowing really how to adult myself and parent. And so I think I was going down the wrong road, right? And so what now people want to do is say, where are you getting your protein? How are you going to eat meals? What are you eating? And so instead of people focusing on when people do something different, I say find a community of like-minded people. And so if you're trying to lose weight, if you were trying to learn more about religion, if you are trying to learn a new community because maybe you moved into a new neighborhood, you're going to immerse yourself with people that are like-minded, and you're going to learn together. So that also becomes a support network. And then use tools that are out there. So I am trained with the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and they've got wonderful curriculums. So I'm not out there like trying to create like, here's a cancer curriculum, our heart curriculum. These are all tried and true, evidence-based. And then I get the opportunity to go into my community and share those. And so one of the things we have is an app, and it's called the 21-Day Kickstart.
Okay.
And basically you log on, it's totally free. Every day they're going to send you recipes, breakfast, lunch, dinner, meal planning ideas, grocery list. So those type of things can alleviate my day-to-day stress on what do I eat? I don't know what to plan. They're going to just send it to you.
Okay.
It's going to come through your email. I can grab my smartphone and look on it. And so there are some really accessible ways that are zero cost for folks that they can really try it out for a week, try it out for a month, and see how they feel.
Okay, and so I understand that you were influenced by the book, The China Study, and then there's this book, and it's called The Vegan Starter Kit. So tell us why you recommend this book for people to read.
So the China Study is one of the largest nutritional studies ever done in the world, and it's done on the country of China. It's really scientific. It's a big book. It's really deep. So some people are going to be like, whoa.
Like a big book.
Yeah, and some people are like, I don't want to read that. But I got into that. That was my thing. I enjoyed it. This is the version that you can get if you want to skip that book.
Those are the cliff notes.
Yes. And so this is produced by a different doctor, Dr. Neil Barnard, who's the founder of the Physicians Committee. And basically, this is a really simple approach to how to start a plant-based regimen, if you want to call it, diet, lifestyle. How to start it, what do I need to eat, what should I be trying to eat less of, the things that are helping fuel disease, and then in the back it's got loads of recipes for you. Guess what? It's $10.
Okay.
Okay, so like that is a really good price point for people if they're like, I don't want to buy that $35 book. I don't know if I'm in. I don't want to sign up for X amount of weeks of whatever. So this is a toe in, and it just came out, and it's really simple. And I like how it breaks it down into some of the basic ideas of plant-based eating.
Okay, so if someone's at home thinking the way I'm thinking, tell us a few of the foods that do really kind of create or cause disease.
Yeah, so animal products are kind of the top of the list, kind of all of them together. Some of them are more worse offenders than others, we'll say.
Okay.
And I think it really depends on like dairy. Dairy is,
you didn't want to say it, really.
I didn't. I'm from Florida, and when I relocated to the Wisconsin state, now I know, and people are like, she's talking about my cheese. And because, I was addicted to cheese. I love cheese.
I love cheese, too.
No one's saying it's not good.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is, when you learn that it's not good for you, maybe we want to reduce how much we take of it. And then for someone like myself, I had cancer, a very aggressive cancer, as we touched on. There's an element in dairy that's casein protein, and it's been shown in the China study to fuel tumor growth at a rapid rate.
Wow.
So they could then make tumor cells grow. They could then slow them down and make the cancer go away. Turn it on, turn it off. And I was like, whoa. So if I know that casein protein can do that, and it's loaded in dairy, and it's really high in cheese, for me, I look at that as something that's gonna fuel my disease or put me in a state that maybe is unsafe. So for me, that's kind of a food that I wanna back away from. However, if you had heart disease or diabetes, those things are gonna be high cholesterol, high fat. So I like to talk with people to approach it from a personal perspective. You might have different illnesses coming down the pipeline in your family than have been in mine.
Yeah.
We've all eaten different foods. We were raised in different communities. So because of that, just think of our water. All of our water came from different supplies. We all got different meat. We got different vegetables from different farms. One pesticide might have been used. This might have been organic.
Yeah.
So all of our bodies have been influenced so differently. So really what we have to do is, I say, look back at what are we working on currently right now? Is it weight loss, stress reduction, prevention of disease, cancer? And try and approach your regimen that way. And then I think you can kind of start to pick out, red meat is definitely at the top of the list. We know that red meats, and this one shocks a lot of people, deli meat. Those are the processed meats.
Yeah.
Those have been identified as class 1 carcinogenic by the World Health Organization.
Woo, it's a lot to digest, no pun intended. So before we run out of time, you do have cooking classes where you kind of give people an opportunity to kind of, I guess, restart their brain on how they cook, because I guess when you go plant-based, then you start looking for alternative ingredients that kind of taste the same.
Yes.
And I do want to say that, of course, everything that you've said, everybody's bodies are different and everybody's body responds to different things, in different ways. So in no way are we saying if you do this, then cancer will go away.
And I'm not a doctor, and I am certainly not advising in that
so if in fact someone wants to just really start a regimen that could very well help change the way they feel or what's going on with their body, it's worth giving a try, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you've got coming up on March 11th a pressure cooking one-pot meal.
Yes.
And so you just did some comfort foods.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that.
Oh, well, the comfort food, so many people are like, well, what do I eat? And so I'm from the South. So what I try and do, Andrea, is take foods that we love, that we want to eat every day, and say, how can I make this healthier, right? So if I'm going to make mac and cheese, we just made a vegan mac and cheese, which people are like, well,
how do you do that?
Exactly. So there's ways to recreate that cheese, and you're never going to 100% replace it. But if I know that cheese can harm my body, how can I create something that's going to maybe mimic it, that's going to satisfy the palate, satisfy my tongue, and so nuts are a big thing that we use. So if soaking cashews in water and then putting them in the blender with, believe it or not, a little bit of carrots will give it that color. You could even use sweet potato. You could use butternut squash, and it would give it that cheddar cheesy looking color, right? So I think there's ways you use a blender and then you heat these items up. So there's other ingredients that go in, but we're going back to the plant palette and we're using those. So if I'm making a mac and cheese that I'm putting carrots, sweet potatoes in, and a little bit of potato maybe to mask what isn't cheese, I just didn't put a whole bunch of nutrients into your mac and cheese that would never have been there in the first place.
Okay, see, I'm going to have to come and check out this class just so I can taste some things. I really am interested in it.
I'm trying to recreate stuff that I loved growing up. I haven't figured out fried okra yet. I don't think I will, but.
Have you tried the air fryer? Does that count?
It stays on my counter. It works every day. Yes.
Well, one thing people need to start doing a little better, because I think that people do pick up a product. Now, this is like cooking.
Like just spray oil.
Like a spray, okay. So reading the backs, I've started getting to the point that if there are a list of things that I can't pronounce and I don't know what it is,
skip it.
Just leave it right there on the shelf. That's how I feel. And I try to find an alternative that's a little more natural, but it's not always easy to do. And people need to start looking at portion control, because, the back will tell you this many chips is one serving, and you eat the whole bag, you've had maybe 12 servings.
Right.
So, got to start looking at the label.
And they tell you, right?
Yes.
I don't want to say the product, but you can't eat one, just one. They tell you. They're being upfront and direct, right?
True.
You're going to eat the whole bag.
So true, so true. So I definitely want you to give everybody your web address so that they can look up some of your cooking classes. You also do a lot of different demonstrations, and you speak to groups of people, all that good stuff.
I'm at the Tosa Senior Center with the Milwaukee Rec Department. I'm just starting with the West Dallas Rec Department, the Wauwatosa. So I try and get around. We recently was at UWM doing some continuing education there. But really, if anybody's curious about plant-based eating, if they're just trying to maybe be a vegetarian or incorporate more plant foods, looking for a variety. I incorporate lots of different ingredients. We're using jackfruit to make some jackfruit barbecue tacos, you know, and so trying to just teach people that food can be fun, get in our kitchen and try. You're going to do it a lot healthier and use less oil than the restaurant will. And not that the restaurant's bad, but their goal is to get you to come back again.
Yeah.
My job by cooking in my house is to make sure I come back tomorrow. You know, I show up again. So I would love to interact with people, whether it's a cooking class, a presentation in their community. My website is plantjoy.net. And thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming by, and you have really motivated me to do better.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Amberlea Childs, she is the founder of Plant Joy, a movement about health through plant foods. For more information on anything we've discussed, again, you can visit her website at plantjoy.net or give her a call at 727-463-3003. March is also National Athletic Trainers Month, so when we return, we'll discuss a world-class basketball club that's mission is to inspire confidence in women and give them the opportunity to play professional basketball. We'll talk to the owner of the Milwaukee Aces and their trainer that works to get them ready to hit the court. We'll do that right after this.